घटाकाशं महाकाश इवात्मानं परात्मनि विलाप्य अखण्डभावेन उष्णी भव सदा मुने उष्णी भव सदा मुने. Merging the finite Jivatman in the Supreme Self or infinite Self, like the space enclosed by a jar in the infinite space by means of meditation on their identity. Always keep quiet, O sage. Always keep quiet, O sage.
Where is this from, Neelakantanji?
This is from Vivek Chudamani, around verse 289, 290, roughly.
Okay, thank you. Though it is true that Atman encased in this body is the same as Paramatman or that Brahman which is infinite. Though it is in the body and though it is the source even of this mind, then why don't we experience it in day to day? Because it is covered, it does not reveal itself to us. A person can keep arguing with mind about God, for and against, by citing examples, but himself or herself will have no clue about God. So there is something which needs to be removed for it to be revealed. It is like people go to buy a new car and they cover it in a wrap, or a gift covered in a wrap. This wrap here is our ignorance. Anandmaya Kosha, which is the most innermost sheath in which lies the self, is the sheath of ignorance. This sheath of ignorance is made up only of one thing: Aham Bhav, ego. If we can get rid of that, then Paramatman, Brahman, reveals itself in its full glory, not little bit or small or just a part. In its infinite glory it reveals. We just have to do this small task, remove ego from our system, which is the covering. You should understand why it is so important that ego needs to be removed. Functioning of this body-mind complex, this body, this birth, all doings, desires, there is an individual entity which is in charge. It is only in the mind of this individual entity that it thinks, I am in charge. And until we remove this entity which thinks I am in charge, the real entity is covered by it. We can keep talking about God, we can keep reading scriptures. But if we don't remove this ego, that manifestation of God in this form will not occur. For intellectual discussion, we can say that this essence and that essence is same. But that doesn't help us saying this. Saying this only helps us to go and inquire and find it. Its purpose is only that much. But saying to each other, I am Brahman, you are Brahman, and it's done, it's not done till there is ego. Ego is this separateness in us which makes us an individual, separate than anything else around us. Ego cannot remove itself. Ego needs a higher power, that Brahman, that can only remove it. Ego has no power to remove it. Easiest method is surrender. Sharanagati, you surrender, you do complete surrender. This ego is on a journey of its own, whether a spiritual journey or materialistic journey. It chooses everything. It chooses a teacher, guru, scripture, religion, people, methods. Even during this path of a spirituality, if there is no surrender, there will never be any gain. And surrender is not just saying by words that I surrender to you. Surrender is of individuality, surrender is of your mind, surrender of your own separate existence. When ego surrenders, then there is silence. Keep quiet, as Bhagavan says, Chummayeru, quiet within, no complaint of anything. If we don't complain, almost all of our thoughts will disappear. If we stay non-judgmental, non-critical, no strong likes or dislikes, no personal desires. I want to add something very important here. Desires for that godliness, love for the divine, that is a divine desire that takes over everything. And that comes from that absolute only. Even if it comes from ego, it dissolves ego, it is good. It is not for your personal gain. Though it might look it is a personal desire to know the divine. But I want to tell you, this is not a personal desire. That only comes from that absolute. To finish your journey, we have no power even to get that divine desire. That is grace. When grace is on an ego, then in its all full compassion, absolute finishes the ego, destroys it, kills it. And this surrender is also grace. It's all play of grace. Our deepest desire to know the Absolute leads to surrender, leads to grace. When the individual stops functioning and looks within, then the power which was already functioning is revealed. It's like if you wish to listen to silence, you have to stop all the noise around you. Mind is a noise which is serving your ego. Ego gone, mind merges in absolute, and there is pure silence always. Absolute Paramatman unfolds in full glory. It's not that ego is enjoying that unfoldment. Now there is no one to say that I have realized or I am free. But there is a profound change in the body-mind complex in which you think you are living. In reality, there is death of that person in the body while body is alive. A silent death happens in the body. Then that ownership goes away. Without a death of ego, nobody can ever know Brahman. Only Brahman can know Brahman. You can do all scientific experiments. Brahman cannot be revealed. He is beyond all constructs of mind. He is beyond time and space. He is not an object you can perceive. Because what you think you is an ego only. Ego cannot perceive Brahman. Ego can develop a relationship of that unknown by faith. devotee and God. This relationship doesn't last long. A true devotee becomes God because he has devoted all what he thinks he is in feet of Lord. So the only entity left is Lord. Devotee has disappeared. Whatever path you take, ego has to go. If we do self-inquiry and throughout our conversations and dealings the ego survives, then we can continue doing self-inquiry and nothing is going to happen. This one wrong thought of I am the body keeps us in this illusion almost always, birth after birth after birth. So this has to go. Even before you talk to anyone, stop and give that talk to the source to speak out. Any thought coming to your mind, sacrifice it to Absolute in you. You don't take charge of anything. You keep quiet. With constant practice and intense practice and vigilance, alertness, this false entity, ego identity, will dissolve. And it connects Brahman within to Brahman outside. It's all one. And Brahman in everything. It's all one. But first thing first, you have to get rid of the ego, which is obstacle. Discover self as self. Don't give credit to yourself for anything. Sometimes people talk like this. I've been practicing for 30 years or 40 years. Nothing is happening. Who is this who is practicing for 30 years? Who is keeping the count? What count you have to keep? People do japa and they keep a count. I do 10,000, I do 1 lakh. If we keep our entity as separate to that absolute, we will always be separate. Separateness is illusion. There are not two, there is only one. And there are not many, there is only one. Your experience of one, that pure self, and my experience of that pure self, or anyone's experience of that pure self, will be same. You become that knowledge. If you try to analyze this ego, which holds identity with the body, understand even if it keeps holding identity with body, body will die one day. What benefit are we getting with this identity? Body will have disease, decay, getting older. One day it will be gone. Other part of body which we use is mind for endless desires. If you analyze your desires, so many times, so many desires which were fulfilled have given us suffering only. Desire unfulfilled, we feel unhappy. Desire fulfilled, we want more. More greedy. That leads to more restlessness. If you see all construct of life through ego, it is a wasteful exercise. Ego is a man without wisdom. Wisdom is in giving up this ego. First thing first, you have to convince yourself that unless this flaw of getting rid of ego is not sorted out, we can't move forward. Once you are convinced, then you can surrender. It should be deep conviction. And deep desire to be absolute, whatever price you have to pay. But this is a very small price to know that infinite. You give up ownership of this filthy body and you become infinite. This is not a price, this is priceless. You give up small body to become infinite. If you are a very practical, materialistic person, you can understand that this is not bad transaction. Giving up mortal body and becoming eternal and finite. Giving up your suffering and staying in supreme bliss. Giving up restless mind full of desires and abiding in pure silence all the time. All what we think about our life is all our mental construct, all our own projections about things. All what we think is our own conditioning. Be free from all conditioning. Be empty. Be like space. We are pure awareness, with or without body. Our existence is independent of body. Body means everything, mind, intellect. But body's existence is dependent on us. If we leave, body is dead. We are that essence. Be with that all the time. There is full grace on you. Be open to receive that grace. Any gain, any loss of body is not your gain or loss. Be impersonal. You are pure presence. You are the source. Be in samadhi of self all the time. Constant contemplation of self will reveal the self. And one who is in constant contemplation cannot hold to any desire. He has no time, no energy, no intention for anything else. He is already dissolving in knowing. The one in contemplation of self is dissolving. Get rid of this person in you and abide in pure presence. Once a devotee came to Bhagavan and he wanted to talk to Bhagavan alone. So he requested other persons to leave the room. When he was alone, Bhagavan said only one thing to him. I can talk to you if there is no person in the room. This was the most direct message. This is complete teaching. Abide in your supreme bliss. You don't need any company for this bliss, not even company of your mind. Knowing the self, we realize everything is just happening. No doership, no one for and against you. Everything is just a play. Stay choiceless as pure awareness. Allow pure energy of self take over you completely. No trace of person is left. Only pure presence. You have nothing to lose. Whatever mind thinks it is losing, one day it will lose everything when it will leave this body. It is just an idea. Don't go with this. Everyone is part of us. Everyone is coming from us. No separateness. All is one absolute. All is divine. All is same. No conflict. Only pure love. Om Do Shanti Shanti Antariksha Gun Shanti Prithvi Shanti Rapa Shanti Roshadaya Shanti Vanaspataya Shanti Vishvedeva Shanti Brahma Shanti Sarvagun Shanti Reva Shanti Shama Shanti Redi Om Shanti 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 Om.